I have to say that there's been some. I think some of the reform has been glacial. It's incredibly slow, but I know that reform is slow. But if, unless there's a real commitment and passion to drive that change, it will always be glacial. I think there's time for, leadership. I guess I'm still frustrated that the voice of the older person isn't heard.
So look, it's definitely had an impact on the sector. I think it's definitely had an impact on older people. They've certainly been wanting this change and are hoping for this to come through. But it is really that fine line of what's fast enough, what's too fast, what's too slow. And I don't think we've got the balance yet. I think we're, as much as older people would like to see it happening even more quickly, I think I'd like to see it slow down a bit so we actually get this right and we don't just create another bunch of issues that we'll be having a Royal Commission on in another 10 years.
I think it's had a absolutely fundamental influence on the future of the sector. It drew a line under the, I guess, the proposition that aged care in Australia was really going very well, except for a few minor exceptions. And it found that up to 30% of aged care recipients receive substandard care at least once during their time in the care system. It also found that the aged care sector was underfunded, understaffed, and under-supported by government. So it really challenged us to put in place something new and different for the aged care system. Its interim report was titled Neglect, and even its final report highlighted that there's much more we need to do as a sector to improve the quality of aged care and to meet people's needs effectively. So from our point of view, the challenge to aged care providers was very clear. We need to play our part. The Royal Commission highlighted that there were shortcomings in the governance of aged care providers. It highlighted that we need to pick up our part of the action here, make sure that our governance arrangements are better, that our systems for supporting our staff are improved, and that we take responsibility and are transparent about how aged care is actually running in our individual services and across the sector as a whole.
Firstly, it has raised in the public consciousness that the issues of aged care, but I think also the issues of an ageing population. You only have to look at, the current election campaigning and, the ANU's, survey last week where, the second highest priority was fixing aged care, second only to cost of living pressures. So clearly, this is an issue whose time has come in the public consciousness to be resolved. My public commentary throughout the Royal Commission, and I certainly was asked to comment a lot, was that from day one, from the announcement by the Prime Minister that this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to fix a broken system, a system that has been neglected for decades. And so that's always been our desire, to see the real fundamental failings in the system around, as I said, policy, programs, funding, regulation, accountability, have those things fixed once and for all. And I'm hoping that now that we have this public focus and commitments from people seeking election, that we'll be able to translate the intent of the recommendations of the Royal Commission into tangible, prioritised actions that actually deliver a better aged care system for older Australians today and into the future. but that's not guaranteed, particularly where we are with the current state of the reform agenda and the way it's being implemented.
I see it like the caravan that walked past and dogs barking and then silence. That's the impact of the Royal Commission. Because it's not the first Royal Commission. I mean, it's not the first inquiry into the state of the aged care sector. There have been, I think, 26 other previous inquiries? But, in terms of a Royal Commission, it's the first on the aged care sector. But everything that they uncovered is not new. Everything they uncovered is not new. And yes, so I think it's ageism. Ageism. If the same thing were to happen to kids, parallel that with kids, then there would be a huge outcry, I would say. I think the the report that was handed, that 6,500 cases of abuse, someone sitting in their soiled incontinence pad for 16 hours. Being malnourished, not being fed. If all of that were translated to kids, there would be an outcry. But because these are older people, well, they're going to die anyway, which is the COVID response, which is another huge failure. And people have forgotten about it. That this government promised that by Easter of 21, everyone in aged care will be vaccinated. But that didn't happen. But people have forgotten all about it. They said they had a COVID plan for aged care. They said it, but as we know, and the Aged Care Royal Commission has said, they didn't. And they lied, and they put out, what they called a COVID plan for aged care. They called it the 7th edition, when there wasn't edition 1 to 6 at all. This government is, it just lies constantly. Yeah.